Here we go.
Hello, good morning, everybody, and welcome to our Back to Basics Essential Tools You Need to Know webinar. Thank you very much for joining today. My name's Thomas Allen, and I'm a Senior Account Manager here at HotelREZ. It's great to see so many of you attending, and also new names I don't know. I've been with HotelREZ for 10 years, and I work in the hotel services team as the account manager. Um, Today, I've got some great colleagues with me. I've got Emma Smith, our Director of Sales, who's going to take us through some of our member portal and rest of market training, and our operations manager, Sarah Whitehead, as well. So if you have any questions during our webinar, we do have the chat box. We will reserve about 5 minutes towards the end for any kind of questions and answers. Okay. I will just bring up a little bit of an agenda, just so you are aware of what we'll discuss in today's session. Moving forward, we will be having a couple more of these back to basic sessions in Q1. More information on that we'll send out. But for today, we are going to be focusing on three areas. One is the member portal. So as I mentioned, Emma will take us through that, just a navigation of the system and some areas where you can find some useful training documentations, PDFs, and also then res to market content. That is a really important tool for you to know and kind of understand what information that we collect about your property is there. So Emma will take you through that, and then we'll move over to Sarah, who will take us through to the central res CRS system and go through certain areas that will help as well. Okay, so Sarah, Emma, do you want to share your screen? I'm going to stop sharing my screen now.
Sure. So I'll take over. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope everything's great for you and you're heading into your silly season, shall we call it? Crazy season kicking in now in the world of hotels. I'm sure December is going to be a great one for you guys. Thank you so much for coming on to the call today. And as Tom said, we're doing some sessions just to help our hotels kind of get back to basics and to just kind of really regroup on what's good to project wise to be looking at for the new year and also for now. So Sarah's going to take you through a few bits, and I'm going to also show you a few really simple steps just to help you have all of your shall we say, as I'm from Nottingham, ducks in a row. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and we're just going to hop into my portal, which is just on another screen. So bear with me a second. And then if my team can just let me know that you can see my screen, that would be super helpful. Okay. So I just need to log in. Bear with me a second. Sorry, apologies. I thought this was going to work fine and now it isn't. So let me just log in. So yeah, so it's important really, I think, just while I'm doing this and you can see me logging in, which is probably not great, but hey ho. As long as you don't see my password, that's the main thing, right? I think it's important right from the off to make sure that your systems and your content, as we know that that's really the bit that everybody looks at images and content when they're buying a property, and they are buying everything that is to do with your hotel. It's super important that your property content gets a refresh, and that you are 100% on top of your data, and you're able to then update things that maybe have changed in your world. Sorry, my system is just taking a moment to log in. And so I think with that in mind, it's very important to make sure that if you've had upgrades in your technology, if you perhaps have had a moment where you've had a refurbishment, or you've maybe taken some rooms off to decorate, or maybe you've refreshed your public spaces and you've revisited your mice space, which is also important part of what we do with gaining business for hotels. I think that's also really, really super important. So I think what I'm trying to say is taking time here to make sure that you're getting all of your ducks in a row is very, very important. I'm just waiting for my verification code, and then we can log in. So when you log into HotelREZ, you should be accessing through the member portal, as I just have done and demonstrated there. Clicking into making sure you're logged in, it will give you a verification code. It's very good for security. So making sure that you're it's pinging you into your email box will then take you into the gateway of the member portal, which is everything to do with HotelREZ and where all of our data kind of sits and where all of the systems are generated from. I'm going to focus today on the Your Resources section and also walk you through REZ to Market, which is the home of all content. So just while my system's having a moment, what we will do is have a little look on the Your Resources segment just here. And inside this particular area, you have everything to do with the sales and marketing activities that HotelREZ provides. So if you scroll inside, you'll see all of the various different rate guides and different things that you can pull off and have a look at. So for example, all of the preferred partner rate agreements are sat in here. So everything that you can see to do with rates, to do with the partnerships that are to do with travel agencies and consortia are all sat within this particular document. You can download this in your own time and have a little look and make sure you're familiar with all the agencies that are giving your properties business. This couples really well with utilising your relationship with your account managers to make sure that you're actually gaining business from the rate agreements that are in place for you. Scrolling down and just highlighting a couple of other ones. There is a business case guide. So if you're looking to try and build more sales for your property, we'll be doing some training on this in the new year. And we'll be looking at actually the best practice around once you're accepted in RFP world and you've been put onto a bid, just to make sure that you're maximising sales for that. So be sure to look out for that session. We'll be doing some sessions during January and February on that. So the sales and marketing guide you'll find under the resources tab, as I mentioned. There's also some training documentation in the resources tab, which I find really useful. For me personally, I don't learn anything unless I'm reading something as well as clicking through at the same time. So if you're the same as me, then feel free to download the guides. We're going to be focusing on this area today on REZ to Market and RFPs. So RFPs will be a session we'll take you through a bit later, but just to mention that there is detailed documentation here. If you have new staff in your teams that don't know how to complete bids and do require a little bit more support, then of course they can log into the RFP session trainings that we've got here and have a little look through. So just wanted to pick that one up. Also, you're going to be learning a little bit about where to update content with me just now. So clicking into REZ to Market, when you're ready, you can download this guide. It's only a few pages long and it's going to show you where to log in, how to log in, and what to do once you're in there. So there are some screen grabs that we've taken in order to build the content tool user guide information tabs. And it will show you, as we walk through there in a moment, what's outstanding to complete. So this is a great guide, as I've said, to have right by your side. And really some good kind of like checklists, because there might be other people in your property that you need to shout and call upon to help you really to get this data completely up to date. I'm just showing you a couple of the other pages in the guide. So let's have a quick look on logging into the tool then, back to the home page on the member portal. It's actually worth pointing out, can you see the chat box is popping up in the corner here as well? So if you need to speak to us live and direct at the time, if you perhaps having trouble logging in, or maybe you just need to know very quickly how to access something, then please feel free to drop us a little note into the chat box and our team will be ready and able to assist you. Okay, so let me just click the just going to click login again because I don't know why it's not working properly. Here we go. So we're going into the REZ to Market content tool guide. The first thing you're going to do is select your property. Now it may be that you have one or two properties that you look after. It may be that you're looking after just a single property. This is where you would enter your property information detail. You can type in the name of the hotel. We're just going to pick our friends, the Hastings Stormont Hotel in Belfast. This property questionnaire is 100% completed, and that's great to see. Absolutely perfect. But it might be that the hotel wants to take a little look over what the data says in there about the property, and perhaps they've had some changes. So in order to do that, you're going to access this tool user guide down the far left-hand pane here. If you click into the property profile tab, you'll very quickly see the percent completion may well be sat at 100%. However, when you click inside, it might be that you haven't updated for a while. So go through and check the details. There'll be some questions that you'll see that say non-mandatory. That means that if you don't have a second line of your address at your hotel, doesn't matter. You don't need to complete it. You don't even need to put a 0 in, just leave it as this one has, completely blank. It may be that you've got to have a little look at how many characters there are in a certain piece of work you're wanting to do. It comes into light really, I guess, on the property descriptions, because when you're looking at refreshing property words, pictures, details, etc., this is where you're going to see what can I actually write about my property. And it's going to give you on the long and short descriptions a number of character limits that you can use. So just bear that in mind when you are updating. If when you're going through the particular tabs, and I know I'm flicking around, but I want to give you a little bit of an overview of the kind of things that are in here, you might come across, as we just saw on this one, the information eye. If you click on that, it just will give you some information about what to enter. So if you're new to completing the tool, or you've been given the task to just refresh, please feel free to click and have a little look at what you need to do. There's some key highlights that I'd like to point out to you right now. I think it's really important to double check the property information that you have. Yes, whilst the name and address of the property aren't going to change, it might be that in the property description, you've had some updates you want to update and refresh. It may be in the location tab. Perhaps a new motorway junction's been opened and there's another route into your property, or perhaps a new road, or even some new rail. So if there are some new routes into your property, please refresh this data, make sure people know where to find you. The reference points tab, please ensure that you update and add any of those key businesses that are within close proximity to your property, and also any key attractions, such as, for example, this would have the government buildings, I'm sure, listed. So in businesses, they have a lot of different companies that they've flagged themselves close to. But actually, when you're entering into more details into here, it will give you the option to drop down and change to an attraction. Let's see if I can find one. Here we go. The Castle SB. So this one's 5 miles away and is a key local attraction. So for example, you can add the attractions in. It's also good to put the key cities that you're close to, because of course some people do touring when they come over. And it's also really good to put anything that's a key tourist destination, or a stadium, which this one has put in, because we know that with stadiums, that does bring in the footfall to the location, particularly if there's a concert going on, or perhaps a large sporting game. Airports, making sure that you know which is your closest airport is really good. Agencies like to know this detail, so make sure that you have refreshed your airports if perhaps a new one has opened, or maybe there's a local airport that you could add that's a little closer. I like that these guys have put this one first because that's their nearest. And then the secondary airport they've put in is the big international one, which is further out, but still a great airport and does bring in a number of visitors. Looking at the local policies, this might be where you've got your, you can update your property check-in and check-out times and anything you want a guest to know, and your commissions that you pay, etc. So that's just a bit on property profile. I'm keeping an eye on the time because I know my colleagues need to talk to you on some other things. So I'm hoping that you can take away from this particular quick look at the dashboard, entering in some of that property content. As you work through the different fields, like the property facilities, it will give you things to update, such as what you've got on property there, Some of the boxes have got sliders. It makes it very easy to say yes or no to things that you have got in your property. The most important key takeaway here is once you've updated your property, please follow the prompt at the top of the screen, which is to say that you're to contact support at HotelREZ to review the publishing. And these guys, our team, will make sure that that is published in all the relevant areas for you. So it will go to your CRS, it will go to the GDSs, and importantly as well, it will populate into CVent for those key RFP questions. So just to recap then, logging into the member portal, it will give you access to the tools section. Today we've looked at Res to Market content. We know that it's always good to update your content to keep things refreshed. Don't forget, you can click on the resources tab and you can follow the prompt here to download the training documentation attached to updating Res to Market. So I'm going to stop sharing. And I'm going to put myself on mute so we can perhaps jump and have a look at some questions in the chat shortly. Sarah, I'm passing the mic to you.
Thank you, Emma. Hi, everyone. For those who haven't met me, I'm Sarah Whitehead, Operations Manager here at HotelREZ, and I've been at HotelREZ for about 8 years now. So I'm going to share my screen with you. And again, if everyone could just let me know if you can see my screen okay. Okay.
Yes, we can see it, Sarah.
Can you see my HotelREZ test property?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to go over some of the most frequently asked questions we get in the support rate loading side, and then we'll open up the floor, as we said, to any questions later. So the first thing that we get all the time is about agent details and card details. So just to let you know, unless you do not have an integration into our system, we do not keep your card details in our system. So we cannot give you any card details. If the card has been declined or it's not been delivered or there's a problem with the card, we personally do not keep them. So what we ask is that you always reach out to the agent who has created the reservation. Now, to do that, you need to go into the Central Res system. So we've come from the member portal into Central Res, and we're going to manage reservations and search reservations. Now, depending on how you want to look for your reservation, we've got different options. So it could be the confirmation number that the guest has given you, or it could be off the email, or you can look at the booking activity date range or arrival date range. So because I'm on my test property, I'm going to have a quick look back. And you'll see that we have our reservations here. So we'll find the one that we require. And when on a GDS reservation, you'll find there's a box called the record locator. Whenever calling an agent, it's really a good idea to use this record locator. They have a lot of Mr. Smiths, they have a lot with people with the same name, they have the same people staying in different hotels, etc. By using the record locator, you're giving an individual ID to this reservation. So it allows them to be able to unlock it very quickly in the system. You should also find as well, if you're a recipient of the confirmation emails, this record locator is already on there. But if you're not, then you can find it's in this system. If you then scroll down further into the reservation, you will find the agent's details. So what we ask is that you call them or email them via these details. If you're finding that you're unable to get them on these contact details, our best friend is Google. But we also have some more details that we keep ourselves. So if you're not sure, you can send an email into support and we can see if we've got any of the contact details for you. It's the same with guest details. If we're talking about the GDS and an agent has booked, we do not store the contact details of the guest. So if you need to ring the guest because you need to change their room type or ask them any questions, please reach out to the agent and not our support team, as we're unable to reach out for you. The second thing we get asked a lot about is users. So this time of year, especially when bids are coming through for RFPs and new rates are coming on board, people log into the system and find that they get an error message. If you get an error message, that's absolutely fine. Just send an email to our support team and we'll unlock your user. But please be aware the users do lock for security reasons every few months. So we say once a month, just go in and click it into it. Even if you're not using it, the first of the month, just click into Central Res and that will just keep your user alive and keep refreshing it. If, as I say, you have left it 3 months and it has locked you out, just send an email to support@hotelrez.com and we will get it unlocked for you. The next thing I want to look at is cancellations and amendments. So please be aware, all cancellations and amendments must be made through the original channel. So that means if it's the GDS and IDS, we at support cannot help with this. It needs to be the agent. So again, you need to contact the agent. If you're struggling to get hold of the agent and have tried emailing and you've tried calling and have not had a response, we are able to send a system message called an OSI to try and contact the agent through the GDS, but this is a last resort. With that in mind, if you are looking to cancel or modify a reservation for someone, we do need to have time to be able to do it before the check-in day. If the guest is a no-show and you've been unable to contact them and you're not able to charge them, then of course, please send us the details, which we'll send to our accounts team. If the booking is through our booking engine, then of course the guest is able to amend and cancel their booking. And we always try and say it's best to tell the guest how to do this to enable them to make their own decisions and changes. If not, your team are able to do it. And again, if there's a non-cancelable, non-refundable reservation, our team are sometimes able to amend these, but these are on special occasions. Okay, so always please cancel through the original source. Unless you have a two-way enhanced connection with your PMS, no cancellations or modifications from your PMS will travel back through to the system. So please be aware of that. If you cancel in your PMS, it will not come to our system and it will not tell the guest. Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you is how to create an emergency closeout. So we're coming up to the busy festive period and you don't want everyone arriving on Christmas Day for bookings because you're already sold out. If you need to, for any reason, come into the system due to a PMS or channel manager outage, the best thing you can do is come into Manage, Availability, Stay Restrictions. And on hotel level, you can add a stay restriction. So you can choose your days. So let's say Christmas Day for this one. We'll do the whole Christmas period. And a closed. If I then look at the date on the left-hand side from the 23rd, you will see the property is closed. Please be aware your PMS or channel manager is king in this conversation, so it will have the ability to be able to override when it comes back online. So please make sure both systems match. But by doing this, you're making sure that you're closing out as quickly as possible if there were to be a problem with the PMS or channel manager. It's the same as if you go into Manage, Availability, Daily Manager. You also have the ability of closing out room types and hotel level and changing your availability. So on a hotel level, you can click Open to Closed. On a room level, you can click Open to Closed, and you can amend your numbers here. Again, all PMSs and channel managers should be leading this conversation. However, in a state of emergency, please make sure you are coming in and clicking Save. Okay. The next question I'm going to quickly look at is what's included in my rate. So sometimes there can be questions in regards to the agent says they booked bed and breakfast, but I know it's room only. There are two ways of doing this. So you can go into rates, set up rates, rate configuration. When you get in here, you'll see there's a little pencil button, which is strategically put right next to the recycle bin. Please do not ever click the recycle bin. This will delete your rate and take it offline. If you click the little edit button, you can see your inclusions. So you could see if this breakfast had a tax, breakfast, commission at what %, what discount it is off the bar rate, and any descriptions there for you. The other section that we always use, it's a really good idea, is under Manage, Availability, and Pricing View. You have the ability to see what the agent can see. So if I choose a date today and choose a rate, you can see the rate is available and you can see the inclusions as well and the price breakdown. This is a really handy tool that all our team use to try and find out why a rate might not be visible or why a calculation may be incorrect. So if you are interested in this and want to see why maybe the PMS is sending the wrong pricing or your resort fees being added on, or maybe there's just a closeout on the system that's stopping them from being able to book that day, the pricing view under Manage Availability and Pricing View is one of the best tools to do this with. Coming into the rate loading season, as you can imagine, we're getting quite busy now with all the C-event bids and acceptances coming through. If you are one of our Cvent customers and you have an acceptance, please don't worry about emailing us to let us know that you've been accepted. We do get this information straight from Cvent, and we will contact you about mapping and visibility if we require it. If you email us as well, as you can imagine, this is just going to stack up and there's more emails to get through. So Cvent directly, we will come to you when we're loading the rate. If you have rates from other places, we please ask you to use the rate loading macro when sending in your requests. It's a very simple macro, and it gives our team all the information we require so that we can build your rate in a timely manner. Without this information, it does mean we will have to come back to you and ask for more information, and that just makes the process a little bit slower. Then it's down to your team to do mapping. So please make sure that you've got someone who in the team knows how to map to your channel manager PMS. This is a great time to go get a refresher from them if you're not sure. That means as soon as we can send you the rates, you can make sure that the ARI, which is the availability rates and inventory, are flowing between the systems, and we can get that rate on sale as quick as possible. When it comes to my last question, which is if a rate is wrong or you've had an overbooking or there's a restriction that's not gone into place, our team are always going to ask you for something called an XML. And if you can take anything away from them today, it is if you have one of these issues, please always go to your channel manager or PMS, whoever is connected to our system, and request the XML. This is the conversation between the two systems, which means that our team here can check on what's being sent, what's being received, and find out a solution for you. Okay, there are top questions for now, but I will open the floor to Q&As in a moment. But I just want to say thank you so much for joining us today, and I will hand back over to the team.
Great. Thank you very much, Sarah. Thank you, Emma. That was really good demonstrations of the tools and good tips as well. So I'm just going to very quickly share my screen. Finally, we've got a couple of minutes left, and then we can do some Q&A session, brief Q&A session as well. So just with the agenda, we've covered these points today. But moving forward and looking ahead, as I mentioned at the beginning, we will start to schedule in a few more of these back to basics sessions over in Q1 2026. The next one we'll probably start to focus more on is the reporting. So this reports from the CRS of the system that Sarah has just shown you. And there's some really good information that data you can extract from that system, such as a room rate distribution report and a comparison report, very much a revenue production report, as well as travel agency information as well. We'll also cover the insights. This is a new type of reporting from Hospitality Solutions, which we will show on these back to basic sessions. They are visualization reports. However, in the meantime, if you do want to have more of a one-to-one training on those, do please contact your account manager. I know I've got some of my accounts on here, so if you do need any help on that, do let me know and I can schedule that in. And some, again, maybe looking ahead, looking at some agency commissions and discussing on Onyx and how you pay and why it's important to make sure that our members pay agency commission in a timely manner to make sure like everything is good with our GDS partners as well and you get more bookings. So I'm going to press pause now. Thank you very much for listening, everybody. I'll leave the floor in terms of any Q&A. So I'll go back here. I'll stop sharing. But does anybody have any questions at all? You can pop it in the chat box because I think your lines are muted. So if you have anything, please pop something in the chat.
If anybody thinks of something post session today, then to reach for Sarah, you can email support@hotelrez.com. For any demand or content related question, perhaps if you want to email myself or if you have my email or just use the centralized demand email address, demand@hotelrez.com. There's a couple of questions coming in on the chat. Do you want to read them out, Tom?
Yes, so yes, thank you, Madalena. Where can I see the insights report? So that is you can find insights in the CRS, so the system that Sarah has shown. When you go into the CRS, it's under reports, business analytics, And then there's only one link from there, and it says Insights Reports. You click on that and it will take you through to that section. Please do make sure you allow your pop-ups, because it will come up into a separate tab. And then from there, you will have certain reporting available, such as an overview, room rate pricing. For our booking engine clients, you can also see lead times, also travel agency production reports as well. So as I say, we will have more of a in-depth back to basics training specifically on that. It does need a bit more time when we go through that, so we've pushed it into the new year. So hopefully that answers your question. Then we have one from Andrew. Can we get a copy of this present? Yes, you can certainly have a copy of the presentation. That will be sent post. Once we've finished, our team will send that over to you. Then we have events. I'm not too sure where events is from, but it says, do you have any information on mapping? Sarah, is there some kind of documentation we can provide?
Of course. So if we're talking about mapping to PMS Channel Manager, this is done on the PMS or Channel Manager. So you would always need to reach out to them for the information on their side. When it comes to what needs to be mapped, we can assist on that. We can send you mapping tables to show what rates and rooms you have in our system, and we can assist with how it should be mapped. However, the mapping actually needs to be done on the PMS or Channel Manager. If you can let us know which PMS or Channel Manager you have, we can let you know if we are able to assist at all, as in give you ideas of how you might want